Lagoon yard in France has been producing sailing cats for many years, but it's been a while since they've been in the motor-catamaran market. The new 630 is its first venture into this for a while, and what a craft it is. At 32 foot wide, it's as beamy as some boats are long, and that makes for a huge amount of deck space. The cockpit is tucked quite well inside the boat so that it doesn't feel too spacious, leaving room for these enormous side decks. You can really run up and down here and straight up to this comfortable lounging area on the foredeck with the nets as well, where you can lie and watch the water rush past underneath you. All that beam makes for a pretty spacious saloon as well, with windows all around. In the port hull, it's fitted out with a galley, and this is really more of a domestic kitchen than what most people think of as a galley. You really can whip up a full dinner party for 12 people here, no problem at all. As you can see, it's got catering spec ovens, and it leads through past a double fridge to yet more accommodation. This is a twin bunk room, which again has its own ensuite bathroom. At this size, each of the individual hulls is wide enough to make a really comfortable cabin, so there's not that feeling of being squeezed into a rather narrow hull that you can get on some smaller catamarans. The ensuite bathrooms aren't huge, but they're plenty comfortable enough and very private, with everybody having their own bathroom, their own cabin, and lots of space to socialise together. You can opt for one of several different layout options, with anything from 4 to 6 separate cabins, depending on whether you're going to use the boat as a private craft or you're more likely to charter it out. This is one of the double cabins. As you can see, the bed is quite tall, set back and facing across the beam of each of the individual hulls. There's no shortage of space here, but it's the owner's cabin in the 4-cabin version that is the real wow. Because not only do you get the sleeping area, you get this seating area, a whole separate dressing area, and a bathroom tucked in the corner with glass bulkheads so that all the light flows through. But the real win is that you also get steps leading up out onto your own little private area of the bathing platform. Just imagine what it must be like to crawl out of bed, wander up those steps and dive into the sea for a refreshing dip before breakfast. Again, that massive beam means that the flybridge has space for all the entertaining you could ever wish for. You could easily sit 10 or 12 people around the table, and it has 2 separate helm stations, one on each side, so that you can see down the decks when you're coming into berth. But despite the size of this craft, it's also remarkably fuel efficient. Just 2 Volvo D4 engines of 260 to 300 horsepower is quite sufficient to push this along at around 20 knots, with an equally big cruising range, while guests can spread out, make use of the wet bar, the sun loungers, or sit up on the flybridge and in the cockpit, enjoying the ride. This is a really competent cruising boat, but it'd be particularly comfortable cruising slowly, quietly, or at anchor, where that stability really comes into its own.